Good morning, everyone. Today we will be starting off with a new chapter, that is chapter 7, drainage. Okay, so you might be thinking that we will be discussing about the drainage system that we have in your backyard, or the drainage system which flows at the side of the road. In terms, we can say that we might be discussing about nalas. Okay, but in this chapter we will not be discussing about that. Okay, we will be discussing about river system of a specific area. Okay, where we will be studying about where rivers originate, how it flows, what pattern does it flows. We will be discussing about all this in this chapter one by one. Okay, so we will be specifically dealing with rivers because they are also considered as a drainage system, okay, where they drink the water to larger water bodies. So these are also termed as drainage, so don't get confused. Okay, moving on, we will be talking about the drainage basin. Okay, so we will be talking about the overall where it originates. Okay, mostly river originates from top of the hills or mountains. Okay, and they start off with small rivers or streams. Okay, so the three dots that you see up there, which is marked by the red color, okay, these are called as tributaries because these are the small rivers which flows down and connect to the main river or the main channel of the river. Okay, so these small rivers coming and joining the main river, they are considered as tributaries. Okay, and when they flow down, okay, when they flow down, they will either reach a big lake, okay, or they will flow down in a sea or a ocean. Okay, so when they flow down to an ocean or to a lake or to a sea, they are considered as drainage basin. Okay, okay, next, if we look into your textbook, there is a term called as water divide. Okay, so in this water divide, you might be thinking, what is water divide? Okay, water divide is nothing but, okay, you will see mountains, big mountain slopes which divides the river. Okay, that is called as water divide. And if you just look into the picture, you can see there is a hilltop, okay, which divides two sections of the river, okay, into different direction. If the water divide was not there, imagine the water divide was not there, then the river would join and collide together and would change the complete course of the river. Okay, but what this water divide is doing is it is dividing the river into two areas, okay, into two separate zones. You can just see from the picture that the mountain is there and it's dividing the river in the right side and in the left side. Okay, so these term, okay, are called as water divide. Okay, simply a hilltop or a slopy area which divides water into two sections. Okay, they are called as water divide. Okay, moving on. Okay, India has two types of drainage basin. Okay, we have the Himalayan River basin or drainage basin. Okay, so in this area we have rivers such as the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, which originates from the Himalayan region. Okay, so we will be discussing depth about these rivers which is located in this region one by one, slowly by slowly. Next is we have the Peninsular River. Okay, these rivers are the River Narmada, Tapi, Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna. Okay, these kind of rivers are located in the Peninsular River Basin. Okay, so we will be discussing both the two types of drainage basin slowly by slowly in the following topics. So in Himalayan rivers, okay, most of the water originates from the Himalayan regions. Okay, mostly, okay, these Himalayan drainage basin or rivers, okay, flow all throughout the year. They are perennial. Perennial means, okay, those water bodies which flows all throughout the year. Okay, they will not dry up in a particular year or in a particular season, or they will not get over in a particular season, but they are continuously flowing all throughout the year. So they are called as perennial water sources, and the water is generated mostly from the Himalayas. Okay, the Himalayas which are covered by snow all around the year, so most of the glaciers supply fresh water to these rivers, and during monsoon season the rainfall plays a very important role because it melts down the glaciers, and so in turn, okay, they generate huge quantity of water all around the year in this Himalayan region. Okay, and if we move on, if we look on, you can just see in the picture, these are the Himalayan regions which supply fresh water through glaciers and melting of ice. Okay, and also these areas, okay, these waters mostly drain towards the sea. Okay, if you look in rivers such as the Gangas and the Brahmaputra, they slowly by slowly they through different states and they drained out to the Bay of Bengal. If we look into the course of the Indus River, it drains out. Okay, you can just see the blue lining. Okay, the blue lining indicates the river Ganges, or the river Ganga. Okay, and river Brahmaputra. And if you look to the north side of India, we can see the river Indus. Okay, it flows down towards Pakistan and it drains in the Arabian Sea. Okay, so this is the course of the Himalayan rivers, and then they are perennial all throughout the year. Okay, they don't dry up, but they keep on flowing all throughout the year. Okay, next we have been talking about tributaries, right? So tributaries is nothing but when small rivers come and join the big rivers. So we can see here small rivers joining the bigger rivers. Okay, they are considered as tributaries. Okay, you can see a clear image of the map as well, where small rivers are connected joining the big rivers. Okay, so these are called as tributaries. Okay, and these play a very important role in forming a river, without which a river would not be applicable or would not be formed. Okay, so tributaries play a very important role in forming and catering water to the bigger rivers. Here we are studying about the river system. Okay, the river system originates from the source. Okay, so we can directly say that these are the snowy caps in the mountains, or the Himalayas. Just take the example of the Himalayas. They are covered by snow all around the year. So what they do is the glaciers slowly by slowly they melt down and they become as rivers. Okay, so that will be considered as the source or the main point where rivers originates. Okay, and where the river flows down, the ending part, it just say the Ganges flows down in the Bay of Bengal. Okay, then we will say that the Bay of Bengal, okay, so this area will be considered as the mouth. Clear? So this area will be considered as the mouth. Why is the mouth? Because the water drains there. Okay, so it will be considered as the mouth of the river. Next is every river flows through a river valley. So we can see that the river is flowing through the valley. Clear? So these will be considered as a river valley as well. So see, rivers won't go up. Okay, rivers won't flow towards like the mountain. Instead, it will flow towards the valley. Clear? So every river has a source, has a mouth, and it will flow through the river valley. Okay, and the part of the valley which is covered by water. Okay, so this area which is covered by water. Okay, the lining, the plain areas where mostly the area is covered by water, this can be called as a channel, okay, or it will be called as a bed of the river. Okay, next we have the river banks. Okay, so these areas and these areas will be considered as the river banks. Okay, so understanding the river system originates from its source. Okay, it has different tributaries. Okay, so these are the tributaries. It has different tributaries which come and join the main river, okay, which join the main river and also drains down through the river valley. Okay, and in the last portion you will find the river bed or the channel. Okay, and also you will find the river mouth, okay, or the river banks on both the side. Okay, so that is all about the river system. It originates from a hilltop, okay, and it flows down through the river valleys. Okay, tributaries, small tributaries join to form a big river. You will find river banks, okay, and you will find channels, or which are considered as river beds, and then it will flow to the mouth of the river. Okay, or it will flow down towards a sea or a lake, which are considered as the mouth. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, previously I've talked about water divide, yes or no? So the division which is made by a mountain or a hilly slope. Okay, so this water divide can also be termed as watersheds, so don't forget about that. Okay, so next we will be talking about the different types of drainage pattern, okay, or the drainage pattern. So you might be wondering, what is a drainage pattern? Okay, so drainage pattern is nothing, okay, but the pattern or the type in which the river flows. So we will be discussing about that, the types in which river flows in India. Okay, and there are of four types. Okay, they are the dendritic pattern. Okay, next we have the rectangular pattern. Next we have the radical pattern. Okay, these are how rivers are made. Okay, these are how rivers flow. Okay, and then lastly we have the trellis. Okay, the trellis pattern of river system. Okay, today we will be discussing about the dendritic form of drainage system. So in this dendritic drainage system, what happens is it flows according to the slopes. Okay, it flows with the slopes of the terrain. Okay, if the mountain is terrain, okay, it will flow accordingly with that, because the terrain is such that it will just automatically reverse flow to its direction, and it will join the main river, okay, and then will drain out. Okay, if we look into the dendritic pattern, okay, the soil or the pattern of the rocks or the pattern of the terrain plays a very important role. Okay, so if you just go and see dendritic drainage, okay, you will see that it will flow according to the slopes, okay, or the terrain. If the terrain is like very steep, okay, what will happen is the terrain will do its thing, and then we'll let the water flow accordingly. Okay, and this dendritic pattern, okay, looks somehow like branches of a river, so you can just see and check it out. So we can just check out, okay, from this we can find out that the river pattern in the dendritic drainage system is more like the branches of a tree. They are not straight. Okay, what happens here is the tributaries look like a branch of a tree because according to the terrain they flow, okay, leading to the larger rivers. Okay, so that is all for today. We will be discussing rest of the types of the river in our next class. Thank you and have a nice day.